Brits. Go back to Alexander the Great. I think that in their culture, they don't trust foreigners to begin with. And that should already make us think a little bit deeper about this crisis. Again, I think there are signs that Taliban is splitting. There are signs that we can make some sort of diplomatic gestures to them. I know the Pakistanis have been particularly going back and forth, talking. And of course, they're engaged in repressing the Taliban, the Pakistan Taliban. And what worries me here, and this is what my main point, is that the focus on American focus on Afghanistan, if it goes too far, risks the destabilization of Pakistan. Mm-hmm. And that is to me, that's the strategic priority, to prevent the destabilization of Pakistan. So our logic, the way our strategy should develop, should be what can best stabilize and preserve the government of Pakistan as it is, and then worry about Afghanistan secondly. Afghanistan should not be the core of the strategy. So this requires a regional approach. It means finding India and bringing India and Pakistan together. It means bringing in the other actors. Now, we've talked about bringing the Chinese. The Russians are getting engaged in the north, but of course the Pashtun elements and those in the south distrust the Russian, Tajik, Iranian alliances that they've seen in the past. But still, I think Karzai, as I said, did make an overture. Of course, he's repeated these overtures to Mullah Omar over the time, and Mullah Omar just automatically rejects them, calls Karzai a stooge of the Westerners, etc. But I'm not sure Mullah Omar is in an absolutely victorious position either. And so, therefore, I think the time is moving to a compromise, a possible compromise of again dividing this Taliban with Pashtun elements, playing with the tribal differences as much as possible, and beginning to, the other problem here is illustrated in this is Afghanistan is not one unified mass as in Vietnam. These are literally separate valleys. Each tribe, each movement is an entity to its own, and they shift alliances all the time among themselves. It's impossible. You can get one, and then it'll change overnight, or will go align with someone else. So I just think we have to Afghanize. Of course, that was a big term in Vietnam to make the Vietnamese, that failed miserably in Vietnam, and it's going to take tons of time, but maybe it's better. If we can't build the Afghan forces up themselves, and that's both the police and the army. They just finally offered the police a pay raise. I mean, these guys are paying $200-something a month and are easily corruptible. It's about time. I mean, the government itself is so corrupt, I'm sure. And by the way, it's us that's paying for this pay raise, or subsidizing it in part, us in the West, NATO allies in the United States. These are the guys you got to start bringing if you want to use the Herb's hearts and minds and trust and respect. You need to build up the Afghan army and the police force in order to have them handle the affair. But anybody on the ground there knows that's going to take time.
Okay, so various different elements to pull together there. It looks almost, well, to me, my scant knowledge, impossible. Pierre, final word. We're running to the end of the debate.
Just remember that after the Soviet withdrawal of Afghanistan in 1989, they put a local government, Najibullah's government, which stayed 2 years alone, which means that it's not impossible to put a local government, but it's supposed to be not corrupted. It's supposed to be quite clear on the funding. It could be quite clear on the relationship with the foreigners, etc. It's political conditions. And the other aspect, which is very important, which you put attention on it, is that Afghanistan is not a country. It's a mix of local tribes.
The big mistake was not stabilizing Afghanistan as the Soviets pulled out. And most of the people on the ground there recognize that.
Paul Gardner of the American University in Paris, thank you for joining us, and thank you to Pierre Conessa from the Compagnie Européenne d'Intelligence Stratégique. Thank you both for joining us. That wraps up our debate. Coming up 24 hours in France, all the stories from France, including the row over the headscarf. The ruling UMP party wants to ban headscarves from the National Assembly after a young schoolgirl turned up wearing the hijab. It's part of not having religious symbols on the premises. Stay with us.
Galicia in northwest Spain is the entry point for drugs into Spain and a European crossroads for international drug traffickers. Every year, thousands of tons of cocaine are smuggled in by boat along Galicia's coastline. To combat the avalanche of white powder, the men from Greco, a special unit formed to combat organised crime, are constantly on the lookout. Their weapons run the gamut, from surveillance and telephone tapping to search raids. France 24 followed this elite squad in their war on the drug traffickers. Don't miss Reporters, Tuesday at 10:15 a.m. Paris time on France 24. Watch all of France 24 on France24.com. 24/7, wherever you are, log on to our free video-driven site. All of France 24 in French, English and Arabic on France24.com.